The hospital corridors smelled faintly of antiseptic and tired dreams. Every day blended into the next for Claire, a young nurse with tired eyes and a heart too full for her own good. Her shifts were long, her paycheck small, and her responsibilities heavy. She had chosen this career because she wanted to help people, but sometimes, the weight of her own struggles felt like a quiet chain dragging behind her. Her uniform, neatly washed and pressed, told its own story. The fabric was thinning, patched in small places where the seams had worn out. Her shoes had lost their shine long ago, though she polished them every Sunday evening in a futile attempt to make them look new. She never complained, but when other nurses gathered in the lounge chatting about weekend shopping, new dresses, or dinners out, Claire smiled politely and kept her silence. She couldn't afford such luxuries. That month, the hospital buzzed with excitement. A charity ball had been announced, a grand evening event hosted by the board of trustees. Everyone was talking about it: the gowns, the music, the chandeliers, the guests who would arrive in glittering cars. The staff joked about who would wear what, who might be asked to dance, and who would be lucky enough to meet wealthy benefactors. Claire kept her head down. When asked if she was attending, she gave a practiced smile and said, "Oh, I'll be working that night." It wasn't a lie. She had signed up for the evening shift, partly to avoid questions, partly because she couldn't bear the thought of being invited to a world she couldn't enter. Dresses, shoes, tickets, everything was far beyond her means. Her solace came in the form of little Emma, a bright-eyed 7-year-old recovering from heart surgery. The girl had taken to Claire immediately, often insisting she be the one to check her vitals or read her bedtime stories. With her wispy hair and fragile frame, Emma carried an innocence that disarmed the nurse's guarded heart. "Why do you always look tired?" Emma asked one evening, her voice soft but curious. Claire smiled, brushing the girl's forehead. "Because I'm busy making sure little girls like you get better." Emma giggled, satisfied with the answer, and soon drifted to sleep. Claire lingered by her bedside, smoothing the blanket as though she were her own child. What Claire didn't notice was Emma's father standing by the door, quietly watching. He had seen the way this young nurse gave herself so fully, with no expectation of recognition. And though Claire believed she lived in the shadows, someone had finally taken notice. The ward was unusually quiet that night. Claire sat at Emma's bedside, reading softly from a storybook until the child's breathing slowed into steady slumber. She stood, adjusted the IV drip, and turned, only to find Mr. Donovan, Emma's father, leaning against the doorframe. She startled. "Oh, I didn't see you there." He stepped inside, his gaze thoughtful. "You're wonderful with her. She trusts you in a way she doesn't even trust the doctors." Claire flushed, brushing off the compliment. "Emma's easy to love. She's strong." He studied her carefully, noticing the exhaustion she carried like an invisible weight. "You've given her more than medicine. You've given her comfort, joy, hope." Her lips parted, but she quickly looked down, hiding her emotions behind professionalism. "It's just part of my job." But Donovan wasn't fooled. He had been watching for weeks. He'd seen the way she stayed long past her shift, the way she brought little sketches and puzzles to cheer Emma, the way she poured her soul into care that couldn't be measured by paychecks. And he noticed something else too: the patched seams of her uniform, the wear on her shoes, the quiet dignity she never mentioned. After a moment, he asked casually, "Are you going to the charity ball?" Her stomach twisted. "No," she said quickly. "Why not?" She hesitated, caught between pride and truth. But his eyes were steady, kind, and something in her broke. She whispered, "I can't afford it. The gown, the shoes, all of it. It's silly to even think about. People like me don't belong at events like that." Her confession hung in the air like a fragile glass. For a moment, silence stretched between them. Then Donovan stepped closer, his voice soft but resolute. "You're wrong. That ball is for people who matter. And you matter, to Emma, and to me." Claire blinked, stunned. Before she could respond, he added the words that would change everything. "Will you be my guest?" Her breath caught. She tried to protest, but he silenced her with a gentle look. "You've given my daughter more than I could ever repay. Let me do this for you. Please." For the first time in years, Claire allowed herself to imagine the possibility that she wasn't invisible. That she could, for one night, be seen. The night of the ball arrived, and Claire's small apartment glowed with the golden light of a single lamp. On her bed lay a gown unlike anything she had ever touched before, ivory satin, delicate embroidery, soft as a whisper. Alongside it, a pair of pearl earrings and shoes that fit as if made for her. A note tucked inside the box read, "You deserve to shine too, Donovan." Her hands trembled as she dressed. For once, she wasn't a tired nurse in patched scrubs, she was a woman, radiant and alive. She caught her reflection in the mirror and barely recognized herself. Tears welled in her eyes, but this time they weren't from exhaustion. When she arrived at the hotel, the world seemed too grand, too glittering. She froze at the entrance, certain she would trip, certain everyone would know she didn't belong. Then Donovan appeared at the base of the staircase, his gaze locking onto hers. He smiled, warm and unshaken. "You look extraordinary," he said, extending his hand. With his steady presence, she stepped into the ballroom. Heads turned, whispers spread, but for the first time, Claire didn't shrink away. Donovan introduced her with pride, crediting her for Emma's recovery, making sure everyone knew she wasn't just a nurse. She was the reason his daughter smiled again. When the music began, he led her onto the dance floor. At first she stumbled, laughing nervously, but he steadied her with ease. "Then we'll stumble together," he said, and suddenly, the steps came naturally. The evening passed in a haze of music and laughter. On the balcony later, beneath the glittering city lights, Donovan's tone softened. "I asked you to be my guest tonight, but that wasn't the only question I wanted to ask." Her heart skipped. "What do you mean? You've become more than Emma's nurse. You've become part of her happiness, part of mine. I don't want this night to end with a thank you. I want it to be the beginning. Will you let it?" Tears slipped down her cheeks. For years, she had lived unseen. Tonight, she finally believed she belonged. And when she whispered yes, it wasn't just to him. It was to hope, to love, to a life she never thought she deserved.